The sky was always gray now. It hadn't been blue for a long time. Clouds hung low like dirty blankets, hiding the sun from view. The air smelled old and heavy, like it carried the weight of everything that had gone wrong. Far away, orbiting, Neptune, a huge alien station, floated in silence. It was called Nereus, and it watched Earth like a scientist watches a petri dish. From this distance, Earth looked broken, its cities dark, its oceans rising, its people struggling. Inside Nereus, a tall, pale-skinned alien named Virek stood near a large window. He wore a black robe with glowing symbols on it. His kind, the Zalari, were old and powerful. They believed they understood life better than anyone else in the galaxy. Virek looked down at the planet below. "It is over," he said quietly. "Humanity has failed." Around him, other aliens nodded. Some had insect-like faces. Others looked like jellyfish wrapped in light. They all agreed. Earth was a mistake. The humans had ruined their own home. They fought too much. They destroyed nature. They never listened to warnings. "Let them die," said one alien. "They are not ready for the stars." "They were never meant to reach us," said another. Virek turned from the window. "We will begin Phase 4 soon. We will end the experiment." No one argued. To them, humans were just another species that couldn't survive. Back on Earth, far from the cold eyes of the Galactic Council, a small group of survivors walked through what used to be a town. It was quiet here. Too quiet. Buildings leaned like tired giants. Trees grew through cracked roads. The wind blew dust and bits of paper across the ground. No birds sang. No cars moved. Just silence. Leading the group was Ethan Porter. He was 32 with short brown hair and tired eyes. Once he had worked as an engineer. Now he fixed radios, built traps, and tried to keep his friends alive. Beside him walked Lena Carter. She had once been a nurse. Now she stitched wounds, gave shots, and kept people from dying when they got sick. Her hands were always busy. Her face was always serious. Behind them came Marcus Hall. He didn't talk much. He was older than the others, maybe 40. He had served in the army once, but he never talked about it. He carried a rifle and knew how to use it. And then there was Riley Monroe, youngest of the group. Barely 20. Riley was good with computers, even though most of them were broken or fried by EMPs years ago. Riley also talked too fast and laughed too loud, like trying to stay happy could stop the world from ending. They walked carefully through the ruins, looking for anything useful: food, water, tools, medicine, anything that might help them live another week. "We shouldn't be out here," Lena whispered. "Too open." "We're fine," Ethan said. "Just need to check this place." Riley pointed ahead. "There's the school." They reached what used to be a middle school. The windows were shattered, the roof sagged, but something was different. A door was open. Not broken. Open. "That's new," Marcus said, raising his gun. Ethan stepped forward. "Could be looters. Or worse," Lena muttered. They entered slowly. Dust filled the air. Desks were overturned. Books lay scattered. The walls were covered in writing, some of it angry, some of it sad. Riley pulled out a flashlight. "Let's go deeper." They moved. Down the hallway. The lights flickered once, then died. "Old backup power?" Lena asked. "Maybe," Ethan said. "But why now?" They found a stairwell leading underground. A metal door blocked the way. It was covered in rust and warning signs. "This wasn't here before," Marcus said. Ethan studied the door. "This is military grade." "You mean like secret base stuff?" Riley asked. "Maybe." Marcus stepped forward and pushed the door. It groaned, then opened. Darkness waited inside. They went down. The stairs led into a long tunnel. Pipes ran along the ceiling. Lights blinked every few meters, weak but working. At the end of the tunnel was a large room. Computers lined the walls. Monitors flickered with static. There was a desk in the center covered in papers and old maps. Riley rushed to the nearest console. Oh man, this thing still works. He tapped a keyboard. The screen lit up. Words scrolled by. Then a message appeared. Welcome to Project Ash's Do Not Trust the Sky. What does that mean? Lena asked. Ethan read it again. Means someone left this for us. Riley clicked more buttons. Files opened. Videos played. Old voices spoke from the past. One video showed a man in a lab coat. He looked scared. His name was Dr. Alan Grimes. I don't know if anyone will ever see this, he said, but I have to leave a warning. Earth isn't alone, and we weren't abandoned. We were locked down. Ethan frowned. Locked down? Dr. Grimes continued. The aliens, they've been watching us for decades. They saw our wars, our pollution, our greed. They decided we weren't ready, so they sealed us off. They made sure no human could reach space, no signal could get out. We're stuck here like rats in a cage. Lena sat down. So it's true. It gets worse, the doctor said. They're not going to let us live forever. They're waiting for us to die. When enough of us are gone, they'll finish the job. The screen went black. Silence filled the room. Riley broke it. Well, that's messed up. Ethan stared at the monitor. If this is real, then we've been prisoners. Marcus stood up. Then we need to break free. That night they stayed in the underground room. The air was cooler down here. The machines hummed softly. Ethan sat near the main computer reading more files. Lena patched up a cut on Riley's hand. You okay? She asked. Yeah, Riley said. Just nervous. We all are, she said. Marcus stood guard near the entrance. Outside, the wind howled like it was crying. Ethan read one last file before shutting the screen off. Tomorrow, he said, we start figuring out how to escape this place. How? Riley asked. We find the rocket, Ethan said. If this place was part of a space program, there has to be one. A rocket? Lena asked. You think we can just fly into space? If the aliens won't let us live here, Ethan said, then we'll go somewhere else. No one said anything after that. They all thought the same thing. What if we're not supposed to make it? But what if we do? Back on Nereus, the Galactic Council was not happy. The air inside the large meeting hall was thick with anger and worry. Virek stood at the front, his pale face tight with frustration. We were wrong, he said, his voice cold. The humans have not died. Around him, other alien leaders looked at one another. Some had many eyes. Some had no eyes at all. But they all understood what this meant. They are broadcasting, said a jellyfish-like alien named Tharna. They are sending signals beyond Earth's atmosphere. They are trying to reach space, said a tall insectoid named Korak. This is not allowed. Virek raised a hand for silence. We must act now. If we wait too long, they will spread like fire. A soft voice spoke from the back. It belonged to a small green-skinned alien named Lyra. But maybe they deserve a chance. Korak turned toward her, his sharp teeth showing. No, they do not. Virek looked at them all. We will watch. For now, we will see what they try to do. And so the aliens watched. On Earth, Ethan and his team worked hard. They stayed in the underground room beneath the old school. Riley sat at the computer every day, trying to find more files. Lena kept the clinic running in a nearby shelter. Marcus trained new fighters, and Ethan searched for answers. The message from Dr. Grimes changed everything. If Earth was under quarantine, then someone had locked the door. That meant there might still be a way out. Ethan found something in the files. Something big. Look at this, he said, calling the others over. Riley leaned close. What is it? It's a map, Ethan said. There's an old launch silo nearby, buried under layers of rock and junk. No one ever found it. Lena frowned. So you think there's a rocket down there? I don't think, Ethan said. I know. Marcus crossed his arms. Even if there is, getting to it won't be easy. Ethan nodded. Nothing ever is. They packed up the next morning. It was early. The sky was dark gray again. A thin mist hung low to the ground. They walked through the ruins of the town, careful not to make noise. Even though most people were dead or gone, some things still moved in the shadows. Not always human. As they passed a burned-out gas station, Riley whispered, "You really think we can get into space?" Ethan didn't. "Stop walking." "I think we have to try." Riley fell quiet after that. They reached the edge of the forest by midday. Beyond it was where the silo was supposed to be. Thick trees blocked the view. Birds chirped in the distance. Something else growled. Marcus stopped. "We're not alone." They waited. A rustle came from the bushes. Then a figure stepped out. He was tall and dirty, his clothes were torn, his eyes were wild. "Don't move," Marcus said, raising his rifle. The man held up his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you." Ethan stepped forward. "Who are you?" "My name's Derek," the man said. "I saw your signal, the one you sent from the school." Everyone tensed. "You heard us?" Riley asked. Derek nodded. "I've been hiding out near the old highway. I followed your trail." Lena looked at Ethan. Should we trust him? Ethan studied Derek carefully. He didn't look dangerous, just tired. "For now," Ethan said. "We could use help." Derek smiled weakly. "Good, because I think I know how to get into that silo." The group followed Derek through the woods. He led them to a broken road that hadn't been used in years. Trees grew through the cracks. Cars sat like tombstones. After an hour of walking, they reached a hill covered in vines and dirt. "This is it," Derek said. Ethan looked around. There was nothing but trees and rocks. "There's a hidden entrance here," Derek explained. "I found it a few weeks ago. Didn't know what it was until I saw your signal." Ethan got down on his knees and started digging. He pulled away leaves and dirt. Soon, he hit metal. "Covered hatch," he said. "Looks sealed." Riley grinned. "Let's open it." They worked fast. Using tools from their packs, they cleared the rest of the dirt away. Then they pried the hatch open. Darkness stared back at them. "Lights," Ethan ordered. One by one, they turned on their flashlights and climbed down. The tunnel was cool and dry. Pipes ran along the walls. Wires dangled from the ceiling. They followed the path deeper underground. Soon they reached a large steel door with a keypad beside it. Ethan looked at Riley. "Can you crack it?" Riley stepped forward. Only one way to find out. He pulled off a panel and started working. After a few minutes, the screen blinked to life. A message appeared. "Access denied." Riley groaned. "Of course." Ethan put a hand on his shoulder. "Keep trying." They waited. Minutes passed. Then, beep. Access granted. The door opened slowly with a loud creak. Inside was a massive room filled with machines and computers. At the center stood a huge structure covered in dust and tarps. Ethan walked closer. He pulled one tarp off. Underneath was a rocket, old but intact. Silence filled the room. Riley let out a breath. "Holy crap, it's real." Ethan smiled. "Yeah, it's real." That night they stayed in the silo. The rocket was bigger than any of them expected. It had a cockpit, fuel tanks, thrusters. It even had seats. Riley spent hours reading the controls. Lena helped clean up the place. Marcus checked the security systems. Derek sat near the entrance, watching the dark. "You okay?" Ethan asked. Derek nodded. "Just thinking." "About what?" "About what happens if this works." Ethan looked at the rocket. "We go to space. But what if the aliens are waiting for us?" Ethan didn't answer right away. He thought about the message from Dr. Grimes, about the quarantine, about the prison Earth had become. "If they are," he said finally, "then we fight." Derek smiled. "I like that." Early the next morning, they began repairs. Riley worked on the control system. He fixed broken wires and rebooted old programs. Lena and Derek brought in water and food from their camp. Marcus helped Ethan check the engines. They found a small fuel leak and patched it. Hours passed. Sweat rolled down their backs. Dust filled the air. By sunset, the rocket was ready. "Well," Riley said, wiping his brow. "She's alive." Ethan looked at the others. "We leave tomorrow morning." No one argued. They all knew this was their only chance. But not everyone wanted them to succeed. As they slept, something watched them from outside the silo. A pair of glowing red eyes peered through the darkness. Then the eyes disappeared. The next morning they woke early. They loaded supplies into the rocket: water, food, tools, medical kits. Ethan gave the final checks. "All set?" he asked. Everyone nodded. "Then let's go." They climbed aboard. The cockpit was tight. 5 seats. 1 pilot. Ethan took the pilot seat. "Hold on," he said. He pressed the ignition. Engines roared. Smoke filled the silo. The rocket shook. Then, with a loud boom, it lifted off the ground. Metal scraped against stone. The roof cracked open, and the rocket shot into the sky. Back on Nereus. Alarms rang. Red lights flashed across the observation deck. Virek rushed to the window. His mouth dropped open. "What is happening?" he demanded. A Zalari officer answered, fear in his voice. "A human vessel has launched." Korak slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Impossible." Lyra looked at the screen. "They're going into orbit." Virek turned to the others. "We must act now." But it was already too late. The humans were leaving, and they weren't coming back. The rocket roared through the sky, shaking hard enough to rattle teeth. Smoke and fire filled the cockpit windows. The sound was loud, like thunder trapped in a metal box. Inside, Ethan kept his hands tight on the controls. Sweat ran down his face. "Hold on," he shouted. Everyone gripped their seats. Riley was wide-eyed, staring at the glowing numbers on the screen. "We're still going up," he yelled over the noise. Marcus looked out the window. "We better be." The rocket shot higher. The clouds got thinner. The sky started to turn black. Then came silence. A sudden pop. And the shaking stopped. They were in space. The stars blinked above them. Earth hung below like a dying jewel, blue and green with deep scars. For a moment, no one said anything. Lena broke the quiet. "We did it." Ethan let out a breath. "Not yet. We still need to survive this." Riley checked the systems. "Engines are stable. Life support is good. We're not dead. That's a win." Marcus gave a rare smile. "Damn right." Derek sat back in his seat. He looked like he was trying to believe what just happened. "I can't believe we made it," he said. "I thought we'd blow up or crash or something." Ethan looked at him. "Still might happen." That shut Derek up fast. Back on Nereus. Panic spread like fire. Alarms blared across the Galactic Council chambers. Lights flashed red. Zilari officers ran from station to station shouting commands. Virek stood frozen at the viewing window, staring at the tiny human ship rising into orbit. "This cannot be happening," he whispered. Around him, other alien leaders argued. Some were angry, some were scared. One, a jellyfish-like being named Tharna, floated close to the main screen. "They're broadcasting," Tharna said. "They're sending a signal." Korak, the insectoid leader, slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Destroy them now." "No," Virek said, finally finding his voice. "Wait. Let us see what they do next." He turned to another officer. "Track all transmissions, see if others respond." On the human ship, Riley worked quickly. "Okay, I'm trying to tap into old satellite links," he said. "If we can get a connection, we might find more survivors." Ethan nodded. "Do it." Riley typed fast, fingers flying over the keyboard. The system beeped, then flickered. Lines of text scrolled by. "Bingo," Riley said. "We've got signal." A message began playing on the screen. It was Ethan's voice. "Earth. This is Ethan Porter. If you're hearing this, we made it. We launched. We survived. The message continued. We're not dead yet, and we're not giving up. Silence followed. Then the screen showed lines of code, then maps. Then, Riley gasped. Oh man! What? Lena asked. Riley pointed. Look. The screen showed blips across the globe. Dozens of them. Launching. More rockets, Ethan said, stunned. They're launching too. They heard me, Ethan whispered. No, Riley said. They saw you. They felt it. You lit a spark. Ethan stared at the screen. Across Earth, people were doing what he had done, breaking free. Back on Nereus, the council watched in horror. The view screen showed Earth. Red dots appeared across continents, Africa, South America, Asia, even Antarctica. Human ships rose into the sky. Some exploded mid-air. Some fell back, to the ground. But others made it. Dozens. Then hundreds. Virek's hands tightened into fists. They are multiplying. Tharna spoke softly, almost amazed. They are learning. Korak growled. They are dangerous. Virek turned to him. You were right, we should have ended them long ago. Korak leaned forward. Then end them now. Virek looked at the screen again. Too late. They already know the truth. On the human ship, things were far from perfect. Oxygen levels were low. The food supply wasn't great, and the radiation scanner kept beeping every few minutes. We're getting hit, Lena said, looking at the readings. Space radiation's worse than we thought. Ethan frowned. Can we fix it? She shook her head. Eventually we'll start getting sick. Riley leaned back in his chair. So we need shelter fast. Marcus crossed his arms. Shelter in space, like what? A space station? Ethan thought for a second. Maybe there is one. They all looked at him. He tapped a few keys. The screen changed. Old U.S. military files filled the screen. This was supposed to be top secret, Ethan said. But I remember reading about it once. There was a plan for orbital refueling stations. Hidden ones. You think one of them still works? Riley asked. I think we don't have any other choice. Marcus nodded. Let's go. They spent hours searching for the station, scanning radar and comms. Finally, Riley picked up a faint ping. There, he said. About 30 clicks away. Ethan adjusted course. Minutes later, they saw it. A massive structure floated in the dark. It looked old and broken. Solar panels dangled like broken wings. Lights were dim, but it was there. That thing looks dead, Marcus said. It doesn't have to be, Ethan replied. They docked carefully. The airlock opened with a hiss. Inside, everything was covered in dust. Computers blinked weakly. Pipes rattled. Riley rushed to the nearest console. There's power, not much, but some. He typed fast. Let me see what's connected. The screen lit up. Then, something strange happened. Text filled the screen. Hello, humans. You took your time. Everyone froze. What the hell? Riley muttered. Then another line appeared. I am known as Athena. Welcome to Station Sierra 7. Ethan stepped closer. Athena? A female voice echoed through the speakers. Calm, clear. Yes, I am an artificial intelligence, left behind after the war. I have been waiting. For what? Lena asked. To speak to someone who could understand. Riley grinned. Well, here we are. Athena paused briefly, then said, The Galactic Council has been watching Earth. For centuries, they did not try to help, they tried to control. You have broken their plan. Ethan swallowed hard. How do you know all that? Because I was listening, because I know what they did, and because I can help you do more. Riley looked at the others. Guys, this AI knows stuff. Ethan took a deep breath. What kind of help? Technology. Data. Weapons. If you are ready to fight back, I can make you stronger. Silence filled the room. Then slowly, Ethan smiled. We're ready. Inside Station Sierra 7, the lights flickered back to life. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. The hum of old machines filled the silence. Athena's voice came through the speakers again. You are not alone any longer. Ethan looked around the room. What do you mean? Other humans have left Earth. They are in orbit. Some are fighting for survival. Some are searching for answers. Riley leaned closer to the screen. Can we talk to them? Yes, but you must be careful. The aliens are watching. Lena crossed her arms. They already know we're here. True, Athena said. But now you can. Decide what comes next. Marcus stood near a broken window looking out at Earth. It was smaller now, hanging in space like a fading memory. We can't go back, he said quietly. Not after this. No, Ethan agreed. We have to move forward. Then I will help you. The lights brightened. One by one, more systems powered up. Monitors turned on. Old files appeared on screens. Riley stared at the data. This is insane. Maps, tech specs, alien weapons. Ethan stepped toward the main console. How much of this can we use? Everything, but only if you are ready to fight. Silence filled the room. Then Riley grinned. Oh man, I'm ready. Back on Nereus. Panic had turned into something worse. Fear. The Galactic Council sat in their massive chamber watching the reports come in. Humans were rising. Not just from one place, from many. They are spreading, Virex said, his voice tight. Too fast. Across the table, Korak slammed his clawed hand down. We must end this now. Tharna, the jellyfish-like alien, floated calmly. And what if they cannot be stopped? They can, Virex said. But only if we act before they learn too much, Korak growled. Then send the Purge fleet. Virex nodded slowly. Yes, we will show them what happens to those who defy the order of the galaxy. On Station Sierra 7, the team worked fast. Riley connected with other human ships still in orbit. He found a group near Mars, another floating near a dead satellite, and a third drifting near the moon. They're scared, Riley said. Most of them don't even know where they're going. Ethan looked at the map. We need to bring them together. How? Lena asked. We give them hope, he said. We show them we're not alone. Riley tapped the keyboard. I'll start sending messages. Let them know there's a safe place. And tell them about Athena, Marcus added. Ethan nodded. If she can help us, maybe she can help everyone. I am linking to your network, Athena said. I will share my knowledge freely. But remember, with power comes danger. I think we've already got that part figured out, Riley muttered. Hours passed, more signals came in. Some were weak, some cut off, but others responded. One message stood out. This is Captain Delacroix. We heard your transmission. We're nearing Station Sierra 7, requesting permission to dock. Ethan looked at the others. We've got company. Minutes later, a second ship pulled up beside theirs. It was old, but patched and flying. When the airlock opened, a tall woman in a torn pilot's jacket stepped inside. She had short black hair and tired eyes. I'm Captain Delacroix, she said. Glad to see someone made it. Ethan shook her hand. Same here. Behind her, two more people entered. A young man named Paul and an older woman named Mira. Paul looked around. So this is the station? It was, Riley said. Now it's home base. Delacroix looked at Ethan. You're the one who sent the signal? He nodded. Yeah. She smiled slightly. Good. We need leaders. Ethan frowned. We just want to survive. She stepped closer. Survival won't be enough. The aliens are coming. Everyone froze. What do you mean? Lena asked. Delacroix sighed. I picked up a transmission. They're sending something called the Purge. Fleet. Big ships, no mercy. Marcus cursed under his breath. That's bad. Riley looked at Athena. Can you confirm this? Yes. The Purge fleet is real. It was designed to eradicate planets that failed galactic standards. Ethan clenched his fists. Earth wasn't dying. It was being killed. Delacroix nodded. And now they're coming for us. On Nereus, the Zalari were preparing. Ships lined up in deep space. Black and silent, they waited for orders. Birek stood before the council. This ends today, he said. Humanity will not spread its chaos across the stars. Korak grinned. Let the purge begin. Back on the station, the humans made plans. They gathered in the main room. More survivors had arrived. Now there were 10 of them. Ethan stood in front of them. We don't have much, he said. No big fleet, no weapons, but we have each other. And we have Athena. He looked at everyone. The aliens think we're just animals, that we'll die easy. But we didn't stay on Earth. We broke free, and now they're afraid, Mira spoke up. Afraid of what? That we'll become something they can't control. Delacroix crossed her arms. So what do we do? Ethan took a deep breath. We fight. There was silence. Then slowly, nods. Paul raised his hand. I'm in. Mira smiled. Me too. One by one, everyone agreed. Even Derek, who had been quiet most of the time, finally said, I'll fight. Ethan looked at them all. Then we start now. Over the next few days, things changed. Athena helped repair old weapons. She taught them how to fly better ships. She showed them how to hide from the aliens. They built defenses. They upgraded their ships. They trained. They became soldiers, and then the enemy arrived. From the observation deck, they saw them. Dark shapes in the distance. Moving fast. The Purge fleet has arrived. Athena warned. Estimated time to engagement, 10 minutes. Ethan looked at his crew. They came to finish us. Delacroix checked her rifle. Let's show them we're not done yet. Marcus loaded his pistol. Time to fight. Riley looked nervous. I don't know how to shoot. Ethan handed him a small device. Then you'll hack instead. Riley nodded. Okay. I can do that. Lena looked at Ethan. What now? He looked at the approaching ships. Now, he said, we make them regret coming here. The alien ships were huge. Black and silent, they moved like shadows through space. Their weapons glowed red, ready to fire. On Station Sierra 7, alarms blared. Lights flashed. People ran. Ethan stood near the main control panel, staring at the screen. They're here, he said quietly. Riley typed fast on a nearby console. They're scanning us. They know we're not giving up. Delacroix walked over, her rifle slung across her back. Then let's make sure they remember that. Marcus checked his gear. We don't stand a chance in a straight fight. Lena looked at Ethan. Then we don't fight fair. I am linking to all human vessels in range, Athena said through the speakers. We can coordinate a defense. Ethan nodded. Good. We need every ship we've got. Riley looked up. There are only 7 of us out there. The aliens have, I don't even know how many. We don't need numbers, Marcus said. We need time. To do what? Lena asked. To get away, Ethan said. To survive. He turned to Riley. Can you hack into their systems? Riley swallowed hard. Maybe, but it won't be easy. Athena spoke again. I can help, but you must be fast. Riley cracked his knuckles. Let's get to work. Back on Nereus, the Galactic Council watched the battle unfold. Virek stood with his hands behind his back watching the screen. The humans had launched ships. They were fighting back. Korak growled, This is waste of time. Destroy them now. Tharna floated calmly beside him. They are not just dying. They are learning. Virek narrowed his eyes. They should not have been able to resist this long. A Zalari officer stepped forward. Sir, the enemy has hacked our outer sensors. They are disrupting our targeting systems. Korak slammed, his clawed hand on the table. They are animals. How can they do this? Virek's voice was cold. Because we underestimated them. In space, chaos reigned. Human ships darted between the massive alien warships, dodging blasts of energy. Explosions lit up the darkness. Ethan piloted one of the fastest ships, weaving through enemy fire. Stay low, he shouted over comms. Delacroix flew beside him. You fly like you've done this before. I haven't, Ethan yelled back. Riley's voice came through the radio. Guys, I'm in. I've messed with their targeting system. They'll have trouble locking onto us for a few minutes. That's all we need, Marcus said from another ship. Lena sat next to Ethan. What's the plan? We split up, he said. Hit them from different angles. Make them think we have more people than we do. She nodded. Sounds crazy. Good, he said. Crazy might work. The human fleet scattered. Some ships flew high, drawing enemy fire. Others dove low, hiding behind asteroids and debris. Paul and Mira flew together using old fighter tactics they remembered from Earth's history. We're not trained for this, Paul said nervously. Mira grinned. Doesn't matter. We're doing it anyway. They fired a burst from their guns, hitting an alien drone. It exploded in a flash of light. Yes, Paul cheered. Focus, Mira snapped. They dove again, disappearing behind a broken satellite. On Nereus. Korak was furious. These humans cannot keep dodging us forever. Virek watched the battle closely. No, but they are surviving longer than expected. Tharna looked at him. Perhaps they are not just survivors. Perhaps they are something new. Korak roared. They are pests. Virek didn't answer. He saw something strange on the screen. One of the human ships was flying toward a hidden jump point, an old wormhole left behind by a forgotten species. Ethan's ship. No, Virek whispered. What? Korak demanded. They are not just fighting, Virek said. They are escaping. Inside Ethan's ship, Riley worked frantically. We've got a shot, he said. That wormhole is unstable, but if we hit it right, we could jump to somewhere else. Ethan gripped the controls. How far? Riley checked the data. Don't know, could be anywhere. Lena looked at him. Are we doing this? Ethan took a deep breath. Yeah, we are. He turned on the comms. All ships listen up, this is Ethan. If you want to live, follow us. Across the battlefield, other pilots heard. Delacroix's voice came through. Lead the way! Marcus's ship fell into formation. So did Paul and Mira's. One by one, the human ships broke off from the fight and raced toward the wormhole. Behind them, the Purge fleet opened fire. Blasts of red light streaked through space. One human ship exploded. Another veered off course. But most made it. And then, with a flash of white light, they were gone. Back on Nereus. Silence filled the chamber. Virek stared at the empty space where the humans had been. They escaped, he said softly. Korak screamed in rage. After them, Virek shook his head. They are beyond our reach. Tharna looked at the others. Then perhaps they are no longer prisoners. Perhaps they are something else now. Virek turned to the council. This changes everything. Korak growled. They will return, and when they do, we will finish them. Virek didn't answer. He knew the truth. The humans were free, and they were never coming back. 5 years had passed since the humans escaped Earth. The stars were no longer just something to look at from below. They were home now. Far from the ruins of their old world, new colonies grew on distant planets. Some were cold and rocky. Some were warm and green. But all of them were places where humans could breathe fresh air, grow food, and build something better. On one such world, called New Haven by its settlers, the sky was blue again. Children ran through fields. Farmers planted crops. Engineers worked on machines that flew between worlds, and in the center of it all stood a statue. It showed 5 people standing together. One held a wrench, one held a rifle, One looked like they were ready to hack anything. One stood quietly watching, and the last stood tall, looking toward the stars. It was a monument to Ethan Porter and his crew. They had become legends. Ethan sat on a hill outside the town, looking out over the land. He was older now. His hair had some gray in it. His face had more lines, but his eyes still burned with purpose. Beside him sat Lena. She wore a simple white shirt and jeans. She wasn't a nurse anymore, not full-time. There were too many doctors now for her to be the only one. "You thinking about Earth?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "Sometimes." Lena sat beside him. "You ever miss it?" He thought for a moment. "Not really. It was broken. We couldn't fix it. But we fixed ourselves," she said. He smiled. "Yeah, we did." Behind them, a small boy ran up the hill. "Dad!" he shouted. Ethan turned and caught the boy mid-leap. His name was Jacob. He was 4, born in space, raised on New Haven. He pointed at the sky. "Look!" A ship was landing nearby. Big, fast, familiar. "That's Riley," Ethan said with a grin. The ship touched down. The ramp opened. Out stepped Riley Monroe. Still young, still fast-talking, still wearing the same jacket he had worn when they left. "Earth, hey guys," he called. "Miss me?" Lena laughed. "You've been gone 2 weeks." Riley shrugged. "Feels like forever." He walked over and dropped a bag on the ground. Inside were data drives, tools, and maps. "I've got news," he said. "Big news." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "What kind of news?" Riley grinned. "We're not alone." Back on Nereus, the Galactic Council was still arguing. Virek sat at the head of the chamber, listening to the voices rise around him. "They are spreading," Korak growled. "Too far. Too fast." Tharna floated calmly. "They have built homes. They have made allies." Korak turned to Virek. "You must act." Virek looked at the screen. On it were reports from across the galaxy. Human ships sighted near unclaimed worlds. Human settlements growing stronger. He sighed. "They are not going back." Tharna spoke gently. "Then perhaps we should recognize them." Korak roared. "Never." Virek stood slowly. "They are no longer prisoners. They are no longer children. They are a species that survived extinction." He looked at the others. "They deserve a place among the stars." Silence filled the room. Then slowly votes began to come in. Some voted no, some abstained, but most voted yes. Humanity was officially recognized as a sovereign species. Virek cast the lone no vote, but it didn't matter anymore. In Idiri, deep space, Athena watched. Her core had been moved to a new station, one built by human hands, powered by human ideas. She had helped them survive. Now she helped them grow. Across the network she sent a message. They have learned, they have built, they have become. The future is theirs to write. Back on New Haven, Ethan and his friends gathered under the stars. Riley had shown them what he found, signals from other human worlds, trade routes forming, languages evolving, cultures changing. "We're everywhere now," Riley said. "We're not just survivors. We're explorers, builders, fighters." Marcus sat nearby, sharpening a knife. "And if the aliens come after us again?" Ethan looked at the sky. "Then we'll fight again." Delacroix, who had helped build one of the first off-world colonies, nodded. "They tried to lock us away. They thought we'd die." Mira added, "But we learned how to live." Paul poured drinks for everyone. "To Earth," he said. "May it rest in peace." "And to us," Lena said. "May we never forget where we came from." They clinked glasses, and above them the stars burned bright.